You've definitely felt it before, but you probably don't realize just how deep it goes. We're talking about that powerful, direct link between what's happening in your stomach and how you think and feel. So today, let's really break down that gut feeling.
I mean, we've all been there, right? That fluttery, almost queasy feeling you get right before a big presentation or a first date. It's such a physical sensation, and it feels completely tied to your emotions. But what if that feeling wasn't just some clever metaphor? What if it was actually a message?
Well, it turns out that gut feeling is a real, measurable biological network. It's called the gut-brain axis. The best way to think about it is like a constant, two-way superhighway of information, flowing between your brain and your gut, and it's influencing everything from your mood to your ability to focus.
So, how in the world does this superhighway actually work? Well, it all starts with a pretty shocking discovery. Your gut is incredibly intelligent. So intelligent, in fact, that scientists have stopped seeing it as just a digestive tube. They're now calling it our second brain. So let me introduce you to the enteric nervous system, or the ENS for short. This is this incredibly complex web of neurons that's literally woven into the lining of your entire digestive tract. It's so sophisticated and it can operate so independently from the brain in your head that it has more than earned its nickname as our second brain.
And look, this second brain is no small-time operation. We're talking about over 100 million neurons. Just to put that into perspective for you, that is more neurons than you have in your entire spinal cord. It's an absolute powerhouse of information processing, and it's all happening right there in your belly.
And the main physical highway that connects these two brains? It's one critical pathway called the vagus nerve. You can picture it like a super-fast fiber optic cable that runs all the way from your brainstem down to your abdomen, carrying signals in both directions. This nerve is the primary channel, constantly sending reports back and forth about everything from your stress levels to what you just had for lunch.
Okay, now for what I think is the single most stunning fact in this entire story. Where do you think serotonin is made? You know, the so-called happiness molecule? If you said the brain, you'd only be about 10% right. A staggering, and I mean staggering 90% of your body's serotonin is produced in your gut. Just let that sink in for a second.
But wait, the gut's own nervous system isn't acting alone here. Nope, it has trillions, and I mean trillions, of tiny partners helping it run the show. Let's meet the microscopic chemical engineers that are influencing your brain every single second of the day. We're talking about your gut microbiome. This is a complex ecosystem made up of trillions of bacteria and other microbes. The absolute best way to picture it is like a dense, microscopic rainforest living inside of you where balance is absolutely everything. And these little microbes are essential partners in all this. They don't just help with digestion. They are actively producing, or at least influencing the production of, key neurotransmitters, the very chemicals your brain uses to regulate how you feel. They're cranking out things like serotonin for your mood, dopamine for motivation, and GABA to help you feel calm.
It's an incredibly sophisticated system, really. But just like any rainforest, if it gets out of balance, the entire ecosystem starts to suffer. So what happens when that communication between your two brains starts to sputter and break down?
Well, the consequences are things a lot of us feel every single day. When the gut starts sending distress signals up to the brain instead of positive ones, it can show up as anxiety, feelings of depression, that really frustrating brain fog, or just a constant lack of focus and energy. Sound familiar?
The scientific evidence for this is getting stronger and, honestly, a little wild. Check this out. In one study that really changed the game, scientists took gut bacteria from humans who were suffering from depression and they transferred it into healthy mice. And the result? The mice started to show behavioral signs of depression. This just perfectly illustrates the direct power your microbiome has on your mood.
Now, I know this all might sound a little bit overwhelming, but here's the most empowering part of the whole story. You have a remarkable amount of control over this entire system. In fact, you can literally feed your brain by feeding your gut. And here's how.
It really does come down to a kind of battle happening inside your gut. On one side, you've got the things that hurt the system. Ultra-processed foods, certain artificial sweeteners. They all throw that delicate rainforest out of whack. But on the other side, we have the things that nourish it. Fiber-rich foods, fermented foods that are packed with good bacteria, and colorful plants that are full of these compounds called polyphenols.
To make this super clear, let's nail down two key terms. First up, probiotics. These are the live, beneficial bacteria themselves. The absolute best way to think of them is as the seeds that you plant in your gut garden to help all the good stuff grow.
But of course, seeds need food to grow, and that is where prebiotics come in. Prebiotics are basically the food for your good gut bacteria, and it's mostly plant fiber. So here's the crucial point. Prebiotics act as the fertilizer that nourishes those seeds you've planted. You really need both for a healthy garden to thrive.
And you know, it's not just about the food you eat. There are 3 powerful lifestyle boosts that all work together. It starts with reducing stress, which really helps calm that gut-brain connection. That then leads to better sleep, which helps your microbiome recover and rebuild. And finally, just getting regular movement has been shown to boost the exact kinds of gut bacteria that directly support your brain health.
So then next time you sit down for a meal, just remember this. You're not just choosing calories. You're not just eating for energy. You are choosing the chemical messengers that are going to travel up that superhighway from your second brain to your first and directly shape your mood, your thoughts, and your mental clarity for the rest of the day.